Shirona, thanks for your time. We appreciate it. So we've had a reporter out there with those protesters. They, of course, have issues around registration. What do you believe is the issue here? Have you been contacted by this group of students?
Thank you, Sean. So yes, Wits's management has been engaged with the SRC, not necessarily the whole group of protesters, but with the SRC over the past 3 weeks. We have engaged with them. We have made a number of concessions in order to help as many students register as possible at the institution. What we can't see do is the one demand from this group of protesters, and that is to let every student who owes the university money and who has historical debt over a number of years to register. If we do that, it will mean that we just become financially unsustainable, and we may not even exist financially or be financially sustainable by next year. So at the moment, we've got student debt, students owing the university money, about R1 billion worth of funds owed to us. If we continue in this fashion, the university won't remain sustainable. And it's for this reason that we've made lots of concessions, but we can't give in to this one demand. We just can't afford it.
Yeah, I see you've also used the available Wits hardship fund with 10 million rand to assist students, but obviously that's not enough given the amount of students that you have at the university and those who want to register for the first time.
Yes, so look, Sean, we have registered about 96% of our students already. Classes began yesterday, but we are keeping registration open up until the 19th of March. However, the majority of our students have registered, and where there are genuine cases, we are trying to do as much as we can to assist these students.
What do you mean by genuine cases?
So we have some cases where people may have lost their bursaries because they haven't passed for 2 years in a row. In that case, they may not qualify to be assisted by the Wits Hardship Fund. On the other hand, if there are students who have genuine hardship, for example, if their families have been affected by the COVID pandemic and they're unable to register, they then qualify for the Wits Hardship Fund and we can assist them. Now, it's not just the 10 million rand in the Wits Hardship Fund. Out of Wits's 37,500 students, 35,500 have registered. That's about 95%. Secondly, we've made available, in addition to the 10 million rand of the Wits Hardship Fund, another 10 million rand, and it's called the Wits COVID-19 Relief Fund. And this is to help students whose families have been impacted by COVID. We've put aside 100 million rand, 111 million rand last year to help students in terms of scholarships and bursaries from the university's council funds, and about 27,000 of our 37,500 students are on some form of financial aid scholarship or bursary. Having said that, we can help them to register. But even once they registered, there's still a need for additional funding throughout the year. Now, this funding, we would welcome any funding that comes from NSFAS, any additional funding from the public sector or private sector. And although the students are protesting at Wits, we are working with them to try to fundraise for these additional amounts that are required.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if you're trying to get more money from government, but then the minister yesterday saying that NSFAS can't even afford to help more students right now.
That's right. So I think that what we've tried to do is try to help those students who qualify for NSFAS but who haven't been gotten any confirmation from NSFAS. But we know that they would qualify. So we've tried to help them through the hardship fund. Again, this is just emergency money to ensure that they can register and to ensure that they can be enrolled in our accommodation. But we still have to fundraise for the rest of the year. Look, Sean, we're back to the same problem of 2015 and 2016. Wits has more missing middle students. So these are students who, some of them don't qualify for NSFAS, and others and who can't pay their own way. And it's that missing middle problem again. So it really wasn't resolved despite fees must fall in 2015 and 2016.
It is pretty sad, right, Shirona, because these are people who want to study and, of course, be successful in South Africa. But what about online? I know that's a new form of teaching for many universities. You're kind of doing what UNISA does for the past couple of decades. But is it not cheaper or a cheaper option for students who want to enroll at Wits University through correspondence? Is that something you're considering as an institution?
So we are going the a blended learning in terms of our teaching and learning program, and the first 6 months of our program may well be online. But Wits remains largely a contact university. So yes, you may have education and you may have access and grant access to more people, but what's the quality of the education that you're offering? And I think for you to study at Wits, it's a research-intensive university. It costs a lot more to fund the university, but the quality you get at the end of it in terms of being a research-intensive university, it's more expensive to produce more postgrads. We've got about a third of our students, close to 40% in fact, who are postgrad students. That costs more money than having thousands of students enrolled at an undergraduate program that you can do en masse. So certainly we will be having an arm that will look at students who can enroll online, and it could be anything from short courses to degree programs. But for the most part, we remain a contact university. And it's not just that it's the teaching in the class, it's also what you learn outside the class. It's also the additional tutorials that you get and support that you get from the institution. Yeah. It's the networking. So there's a lot more than just being a correspondence university, and we're not a correspondence university. We definitely need more funding for higher education, more higher education institutions that offer quality education, and even a TVET sector that's more operational as they are in other countries. Right now, everybody puts their aspirations on the minute you matriculate, everybody has to go to university. And I think we really need to build that higher education sector over the next few years.
Yeah. All right, I get you. Thank you so much for your time and your insight. Appreciate it. Wits University's Head of Communications, Shirona Patel.